I am me, and that's okay. I would definitely test that out. Not only do you want to test out having a ball one size up, but even the whole range of size 1 through size 5 balls could help them develop precision and power. My buddy who's probably one of the best players currently in the United States, I asked him how do I improve, what's the fastest way to improve my juggling abilities? And he told me to invest in a 2.2 pound medicine ball as well as a tennis ball. Right, so you think a 2.2 pound medicine ball, that's pretty heavy compared to what a normal soccer ball weighs. So the whole point is that you may underestimate your players' abilities to use bigger balls, and just by testing it out, you might see them improve significantly, because I mean, you're the coach, right? So test it out and see the results. The next thing that comes to mind is that if they can only kick the ball 5 to 10 yards, that means that they haven't really developed their fundamentals to a degree. And if you're looking for a practice routine that can really help develop players' fundamentals, I used to go to a skills and drills coach. His name's Tom Turnball. I talk about him a lot, and he did 4 things every practice, and they are ball mastery, dribbling sequences, a juggling game called the barrel game, and then we finished with 1v1 to cones using a small ball. So after doing this for a significant amount of time, well, I started going to him. I think it was the fall and the winter, and then that spring I scored more goals than my whole team combined. So it's super effective because it's a very structured training session. And this is something that when I started coaching a middle school team out of Narragansett Pier Middle School in Rhode Island, I did the same 4 things that I did at Tom Turnball with my players at middle school. And then I remember one of the parents said that when one of his kids was playing in the spring, he said you could really see that their abilities and skills were significantly better based on the things that I was doing them. And I knew they would be effective because I had tested the training out for a significant amount of time. So this is a time-tested routine. Okay, so the way you learn how to teach ball mastery drills is something called, you could search this app, it's called Cover Coaching, Coerver, or I'm sure he's got a YouTube channel, Cover Coaching, and the app might be a freemium style, so you can get a couple for free, and then maybe you pay a little bit to get the rest of them. But the pattern that Tom Turnball would do, it would be teach one skill, right? Teach a ball mastery move, and then so in one practice you teach a skill, and then the next practice you review the skill from before, and then you teach one more. So you think about it, in the span of a season, you could probably teach them between 25 to 50 ball mastery moves, so that by the end of the last practice on the last day, you say, okay, everyone show me your chop, and then everyone show me your toe taps, everyone show me your elbow, everyone show me your Cruyff, everyone show me your drag, right? So they'll have a ball mastery language that, and then once they start really working these fundamentals, you're going to see them, right? It's going to really help improve their game. Okay, so ball mastery. The next thing you do is dribbling sequences, right? So you think 10-15 minutes ball mastery, then you go 10-15 in dribbling sequences. All dribbling sequences is a rhythmic pattern of dribbling. So it looks like you could go inside right, outside left, outside right, inside right, outside left, outside right. That's a dribbling sequence. Or the one that Tom Turnball taught us that I use with my middle school kids is you go with one foot, you go outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. The last touch comes across the body, and you do the same thing with the other foot. You go outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. And the reason why this is so effective is because you want to have your players say it while they're doing it. They're saying outside, outside, inside, inside as their feet are doing the same thing. So it really helps develop that mind-body connection. The second reason it's so effective is because it's a rhythmic pattern, right? It allows players to not think about dribbling. This is going to help them when they get on the field to be able to just dance around defenders, because it's really going to help them develop an awareness of their dribbling abilities. And then a lot of players will tend to do this fast, too fast. Even when you tell players to be slow and smooth, right? There's a quote, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Even when you tell them to go slow, there's a natural competitiveness in them, and they'll probably try to go too fast anyway. So you tell them go slow, and then slow is smooth, smooth is fast, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. So the way you could set it up is you have, depending on the number of players you have, I had so many players that I chose not to put them in the 18-yard box and do this. I elected to have them do this dribbling sequence. I would have them do one lap around the soccer field doing this dribbling sequence, and then the next practice I would have them dribble in the opposite direction, just to mix up the kind of, just so they didn't get into a rut of doing the same of the same, you know, just changing up the angle. I thought would be worth their time, the direction of the run. But if you have, if you have a decent amount of players, you could put them in the 18-yard box, which forces them, which makes them have to navigate through each other and can help, right, deal with each other's balls and so that they're not bumping into each other. That's going to make them improve their abilities too. So that's something you could try, putting everyone in the 18-yard box. Excuse me. Okay, so then the barrel game. The barrel game is just, all you do is you have all the kids stand around a barrel or a garbage can that you put in the center of the field with the ball in their hands. So each kid is about 2 to 3 steps away from the barrel, maybe even more, just depending on how many you have. And the goal is to just juggle the ball into the barrel using different parts of your body. So you could do, so it's a great game because beginner players can use a bounce and can start very close to the barrel. More advanced players can start farther away and remove the bounce. This is why this game scales great for players of different levels and abilities. It's almost like in golf. Some players play from the blues, some players play from the reds, some players play from the whites, right? They can start respective to their skill level. So I taught a girl who was a novice goalkeeper this past summer on Block Island, and as we were playing this game, I wanted her to feel what winning felt like, what success looks like and feels like. So we started not even one step away from the barrel, and it was just thigh, like one juggle of the thigh right into the barrel, then the left thigh, one juggle of the thigh into the barrel, and then one bounce. So kick, like she would drop the ball, it would bounce, and then she'd kick it right into the barrel. So showing them, right, they say make skills easy, make strength hard. You want them to be close enough to where it's not going to deter them in the wrong direction. But if you make it too challenging in the beginning, then it's going to it's not going to encourage them to play the game. You want it to be challenging but fun. And so the way that Tom Turnball taught this progression, we would go right foot with a bounce, left foot with a bounce, both feet alternating with a bounce. So right foot bounce, left foot bounce, right foot in, something like that. Or then you'd go right thigh, left thigh, both thighs alternating, and then finish with any part of the body you want, with or without a bounce. So you think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a progression of seven. Right, that's the whole progression. So some players who are better will be able to get through the whole progression in the allotted 15 minutes of time, assuming you have a 1 hour practice. Some players will get jammed up on their left foot with a bounce just because they need work on it. But the key is to not use a whistle. You want them to go at their own pace, right? Because Bobby might be better than Tommy, and that's okay, right? You want them to go at their own. You don't want to rush them through it, or that kind of defeats the purpose of why you're doing the exercise to begin with. So, and then you'll see some players are going to start bumping into each other, and they're going to start to get frustrated. So it's a bit chaotic, but it's a lot of fun. And then from there you go right into 1v1 with cones. So you could use the guide of your sideline to set up your cone line. So you put a cone down maybe every 3 steps, every 4 steps, and you want the cones, the ones that you could knock over. And then, so you make a cone line, and then a few yards away, either towards the sideline or towards the field, you mirror that cone line so that you create 1v1 grids, and then you have players play against each other. Maybe you could do, for 5 minutes, they play against an opponent, and then they switch opponents. So 3 games of 5 for 15 minutes. And that's your practice session, right? So it's ball mastery, dribbling sequences, barrel game, 1v1 cones, every practice. And if you do this practice every time, I think your players are going to have a lot of fun, and they're really going to improve their skills and abilities. And then what starts to happen is, like, the games is irrelevant, right? At this age, if they can hardly pass 5 to 10 yards, the focus shouldn't be winning games. It should be developing skills and abilities. If you could only have it one way, because when the parents of the team see what you're doing with them every practice, they're gonna be pleased because I promise you, they're gonna become better players by the end of the season. So give some of these things a try. Reach out with any questions.